All right, guys. So we have got Anna, our mentee here. She's joining us. She started with the mentorship back in September 2025. That's right, isn't it, Anna? We're now in February 2026, so we've known each other for a while now. Maybe too long. Maybe too long, you
Like
might say.
forever.
So Anna, basically, this call we're just kind of going to go through your, I guess your process along with us with the academy. Speak a little bit about where you're up to now, and I guess what the future looks like for you. But I suppose just to kind of kick us off, tell us a little bit about where you were up to just before you got in touch with us and joined the academy.
Um, Brutal honesty, full of nerves. I had no idea what the whole rent to rent business was about. It was going to be a really big kind of learning curve for me. And I think at that point, that's what was stopping me because it was brand new. So having had the initial conversation with yourself, Ben, it all seemed a bit too easy. So, you can't just do that and then you have a great business. But actually, um, you you probably can. As long as you take heed of everything in the academy, you learn something every day, and even um, just making that decision to jump into the academy, one of the best things I've ever done. The group of people that you meet are fantastic, and like I say, even if you have the nerves of I don't know what I'm going to do to take this forward, you'll soon build confidence. A week into the academy, and I've learned a ton of stuff. You start to understand the weird lingo people in the property world
A
come
lot
at
of
you.
abbreviations.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole world loves an acronym, but when you move from one kind of industry into this one, it's like a whole new language all over again. But yeah, so it was kind of getting over that initial nerves and that jump into the new world. I wouldn't look back, put it that way.
Yeah, and one thing I absolutely love that you said there was, we had that call, that initial call where I met you for the first time, and you were like, well, it can't be that easy. And it's so funny. I get a lot of that feedback so often.
Yeah.
And maybe it's our fault. Maybe we've simplified the process and the way that we speak about it is simple to us because we've been doing it for 5, 6 years. But realistically, it's the formula, right? It's the formula that we've created that we just drop into your new business, and we go, look, there it is. That's the process that you follow. And one thing you've been great at specifically is just
Mm.
committing and having that right attitude in place to just go flying forward with it and to get to where you are now, 3 units, right? And how would you say you found that process?
Um, Exciting, stressful. I think it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster because you go
Yeah.
from 0 to 100 in seconds.
Mhm.
You've learned all this theoretical stuff. You've read a lot of things. You've listened to a lot of, YouTube videos, podcast type things. You've created a ton of spreadsheets and, you've stacked numbers here, there, and everywhere. And you think it looks good on paper, and then you sign up to something and it becomes real. And
Yeah.
then, oh my God, I got to get this place ready and furnished and, ready for a photographer. And oh my God, where am I going to get a photographer? And that's when the group and the network have really helped because, everybody in the academy, when I joined, were all at slightly different stages.
Yeah.
So I was the newbie. There was a couple that had been there for a month or so already, some that already had units, and of course, yourselves that were just, the wealth of experience. So if I had a drama or what I thought was a drama, actually I'd posed a question to the group and it was answered within seconds.
Yeah.
So it was never that dramatic or as stressful as I actually felt at the time I hit whatever question it was, because I had such um, a wealth of experience in the academy to draw on. So yeah, it was exciting. Um,
I think it's great because you kind of go from your first week or two where you're like, oh wow, it's this new world, you learn everything. It feels quite overwhelming and intense at the time. But you've always got this sort of this goal of like, okay, when I've got my first unit, and you've got that sort of tunnel vision towards it. Then you get the first unit, and as you say, you're stressing, you've got deliveries turn up, when's the photographer getting booked in, and you almost go through this next wave. And it's always good. And I try to sort of get people to reflect and be like, well, look, 2 weeks ago, you were wishing for your first unit. Now you've got it. These are good problems to have.
Yeah.
What would you say were like the maybe two or three problems that you faced that were unexpected?
Um, and that's a really tough one because I felt like I had a really good experience. So, kind of the documentation that I had to sign came through when it was, albeit a lot of it, um, came through when I expected it. And the back and forth between, landlord was swift, was easy. The collecting the keys on the day that they were available, it just all happened.
Yeah.
Um, the fact that I ended up with part furnished units was helpful. So I knew exactly where I was going shopping for anything that was, missing. There was never any kind of difficulty in having to source a three-piece suite or a bed at short notice because I had these three, kind of units.
Yeah.
Um, it was, I guess, the I shouldn't say for a female, but for a female, one of the maybe sticky situations was getting around the units and understanding how everything worked because you kind of never know what kind of guest you're going to come up with. So, how do I work the heating? How
Yeah.
does how do you turn the hob on? Or, you know, the shower's different to mine at home and I don't understand how it works. And you never know what kind of problems you're going to face. So it was like getting around every room and finding every little bit of equipment and writing a bit of an idiot's guide, really, a really bullet point, switch it on at the wall kind of, as easy as that. Because, like I say, you don't often get English speaking guests that are used to the UK kind of facilities. So you never know, like I say, you never know what kind of guests you're going to draw in.
So you've got your systems in place basically. You foolproofed the apartments.
I, you never know, you still never know what you're going to come up against. So again, that's where the group's really good because,
Yeah.
um, having a few people from the same academy with units in the same building kind of presents what problems they're having, they've faced, and they kind of, everybody bounces off each other and finds a fix for everybody else. So yeah, problematic. It wasn't for me, thankfully.
That's good.
And I do think it's super important, like the foolproofing, what we're saying, right, is basically just automation, right? And I think when a lot of people or I speak to people about automation, they immediately jump to AI, right? And I think yourself included, if I said to you AI, you'd be like, oh, gosh, what's that? It sounds overwhelming, but it isn't. Automation it comes in all different forms, and it's basically just systems and processes that we put in place from day one to minimize the amount of time that we have to spend running this business, right? So a welcome guide is a super easy automation, but it's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. I guess my question off the back of that is, how much time per day do you spend running this business, if you're being honest?
If I'm being honest, per day, an hour
Yeah.
tops
For 3 units.
for 3 units, and most of the hour would probably be Instagram, kind of finding events, posting
Yeah.
events, and then advertising my accommodation on the back of that. If you've got your tickets, book your accommodation, that kind of thing. Um, yeah, I can't say I spend a lot more time than that. We love time freedom, don't we, Ben?
That's it. That's what it's all about. Time
Yeah,
freedom.
yeah.
Absolutely.
It scares me to think that, I could potentially have something like 20 or 30 units, and that might be somewhere close to a part-time job.
It could be.
Well,
Or
yeah, a few more automations in there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think, like you say, you kind of once you're in the world, you get a lot of time back to think and reflect on what you've done, how
Hmm.
you can further improve on what you've got, and then you kind of I spend the rest of my time like, what else?
Yeah.
Where next? And then you really go off on, kind of on a I guess down a rabbit hole of, oh, when I have 50 properties, maybe I could get myself a virtual assistant who can manage all of this, on behalf of me, because I've got all of these systems and processes in place that I could just say, this is how I do it.
Yeah, you've done the hardest part, which is obviously starting, but then also getting your first one is the biggest learning curve. It only gets easier where you can add more to your portfolio and also put more automations in place, like your virtual assistant. It just gets easier, which there is actually no limit, is there really?
There's
You
no
could just
limit.
take it to 50, you could take it to 100, and still
Not
not
ready
work.
for that yet. Not ready for that yet.
Steady goes, steady goes. So you have got 3 units at the moment. When did you started in September? Was it December by the time you'd got three?
Yeah, December I went live with all 3 units. Yeah, and just kind of sat with my fingers and toes and everything crossed, like, oh my God, have I done the right thing? Am I gonna ever get a booking? When is it gonna happen? So
Mhm.
kind of while all that was going on, I was frantically in the background, set, with the photographs in hand and everything, ready to go. It was like, okay, get on the platforms now, get them listed, use kind of our what do we call it? Our management software, Guesty,
Channel
is it?
management,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, is what we use to kind of pull everything together and have that consolidated calendar view of everything.
Mhm.
And then once you hit the button on that, it was just kind of a um so yeah, I think it was December the 10th I went live. And where are we now? 20th of
Feb.
February.
February. And I'm 84 bookings in.
84
Woohoo!
bookings.
That
Yeah.
is so impressive.
Um, and I was kind of, there was a little flurry heading towards Christmas. And then in my head, I was kind of, if I was looking to book, it wouldn't be across Christmas.
Mhm.
So my head was already in that space of prepare for it to go quiet. And it probably was quiet until mid-January, at which
Mhm.
point I was starting to panic a little bit, thinking, oh God, when are people going to come back? And then it just, my phone, my computer, my everything went nuts, just lit up like a Christmas tree. And I was like, oh my God, all these bookings over there. And albeit that they're spread out across the year, um, 84 bookings since kind of mid-January to now is
Mhm.
Phenomenal.
not nothing that I expected, not to that level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So long may it continue.
absolutely.
100%. How did you feel then when that first booking came in?
Um, um, Sick with excitement, I think it was. I was just like, oh no, what do I do?
What now?
When you have that panic, I've had cleaners in, but is it clean?
Yeah, yeah. And how did you feel when the 84th booking came in?
Yeah, I was just like, they must like this place. Yeah, so the cleaners are doing something right. We've got something right, with the setup and how we've staged it and the pictures on the platforms, clearly. Um, I think now it's just, kind of tweaking it and adding bits and growing it and, what else can I offer that
Mm,
Yeah.
would attract more, different, longer, but I guess depending on which audience I'm targeting and what kind of events are happening in and around Leeds.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can't believe they still come in.
That feeling of a booking never really gets old,
No.
does it?
No, no, it really doesn't.
Like a nice dopamine hit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
And yeah,
you got to 3 units in 3 months, I think. You got 84 bookings within 5 months, or let's say a month and a bit of going live. Um, what does the next 12 months look like for you?
scary. I think it's one of. It, I really would like to have these 3 units really, stabilize, and kind of pay for themselves, and hopefully bring a bit more. That's kind of the plan. Um, I'd love to grow the business. I just don't feel that I'm far enough into the property
Sure.
world to make that step yet. But I kind of thought that about the academy, and if I hadn't have just jumped in and taken the step, I think it's one of those things where there's never really a good time.
Yeah.
You've just got to bite the bullet and do, and you find that from all sorts of places. You pull strength, you pull energy. You gain positivity as you go through. And this last couple of months, I've grown so much confidence. And some days I even feel like I know what I'm doing.
You do know what you're doing.
But the fact that all of the academy reference material and it is available to me still, that I can go back to if I think, oh God, I've just got a bit of a brain block. Um, the fact that it's just there and it is so simple. It's written in very plain English. Um, apart from a few too many acronyms if you're a brand new person. But but yeah, and like I say, the network that we've got is so experienced, or it feels like they are. Any problem that I come across, they've already had.
Yeah.
Um, so there's always an answer there. So I think just gain more experience, get
Mm,
these units stabilized, and then kind of have a think about where next. Do I want
100%.
more?
But the
Yeah,
beauty of it is, you've gone full force in, you've taken action, you've committed,
Yeah.
which is all we ever ask of anyone, and you've done it with such a great attitude as well. It's been a pleasure working with you. But the best part is like you've got the skill set now. The whole formula, the blueprint, the skill set to go and scale this business up is yours. So you can decide, okay, I'm going to let these stabilize for a few months because I appreciate it's a big investment going in and setting up 3 units all together in one go. So letting that profit come back in, return on investment, which is what we're all here for, right? We want to be making money and getting that profit out to then go, right, okay, I'm ready to scale further now and take it up to 10 units. You've got the ability to do that. So I think that's the best thing about it.
yeah, it absolutely is. And I think, everything that I've learned in the academy does equip you for that, exactly that. And if you sit on the academy and you have one unit, it turns a profit and that works for you. I think that's really good. But I think the fact that you can so easily and quickly scale up to the world that you guys sit in with, double digit kind of portfolio, the you gain the ability to do that quite easily and quickly. If you just commit to commit to the academy and everything that's in there. Um, yeah, it's been great for me. It's been a massive learning curve. Like I say, my previous life was nothing to do with property, and I really enjoy it. Really enjoy it.
Good.
Um,
That is good.
it's um, it's the beauty of being able to run this without having a lot of that huge liability that comes with being a landlord and owning said properties.
Hmm.
Um, so there's a bit of, kind of the ease of doing it. Um,
Yeah.
it was kind of helpful for me in making that decision as well.
Yeah. Rather than committing to putting a big deposit down, it's an easier entry and also being able to take three on rather than doing the big
Yeah,
deposit and taking one on.
yeah, yeah. And the whole, potential mortgage process, whether that be,
Yeah.
buy to let mortgages or whatever it is, it's long, it's arduous, it that in itself can be stressful. But the beauty of this is that you can jump into it and, from my experience, within months,
Hmm.
already have a unit ready to go.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, yeah, 100 mile an hour, but, I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Good.
Mostly.
Mostly.
Those minutes.
Good. It's hard work. We
Yeah.
don't hopefully we don't sell the dream of it's super, super easy because it is hard work, but it's very short-lived. You decide if you're going to put the hard work in for a short stint, you then get the reward for there long after as well. So it's good that you've put that work in and you're reaping the rewards or soon to reap the rewards once the return on investment comes back. Um, Lovely. All right, Anna. Well, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for your time. I guess one final question. If someone's watching this video right now and they're sat on the fence, they're like, we've seen Ben and Holly, but we want to see someone else's perspective on it, and they're looking at you right now. I guess what would you say to them if they were on the fence of joining the academy?
I think it will open a whole new world to you. I think I knew nothing, like absolutely zero about property, the rental world, nothing. Um, the academy just opened my eyes to a whole new world and kind of cemented that it's not as difficult as you might think it is. They give you all the tools you need to know, and arm you adequately to stand on your own 2 feet in the property world, in the whole rent to rent world. Do it, do it. You'd never look back.
Love that.
Perfect. Right. Well, thank you very much, Anna. And yeah, we can't wait to see where you get up to as well over the next few months.
I'll keep in touch.